Welcome back. You're watching Newsmaker Live with me, Kendall Burton. We're speaking with Cynthia Lionel, the manager of the Foaso Agro Processing Plant. It is World Food Day today, so we're speaking about the theme, Sustainable Food Systems for Food Security and Nutrition. Today, as part of activities to mark World Food Day, the Ministry of Agriculture, together with the Ministry of Health and the Ministry of Education, teamed up to host a food fair on the waterfront outside the government buildings, Sir Stanislaus James building more specifically. Let's talk a little bit about your involvement in that fair, because I think one of the main aims was to highlight the benefits of consuming locally produced food, especially in light of the nutritional and food security aspect of the theme for World Food Day.
Okay, many people are not aware of the existence of the Foaso Agro Processing Plant, and one of our reasons for participating in the food fair was to ensure that we get ourselves out there, let people out, make people aware of what's happening at the plant. We wanted to showcase our product, and we even sold some of our juices because we wanted people to get a taste of what is it we do down there. Some of the juices, some of the pulp that we sell to the hotels, we were able to sell a few of the items so people get a taste of the juices. So, and there's, what I'd like to say about the juices is that there are no artificial flavors or preservatives. They are plain juices, plain pure
no sweetness,
pulp.
nothing of the sort.
Well, we add sugar, but there is no other preservatives, just because you add sugar to juices. But no preservatives whatsoever. And because all of what we eat, everything that we eat right now, everything has some kind of preservatives. And the thing about it, I've been hearing about, you know, diabetes and all of these things. I think St. Lucians should try to consume a lot more of what we grow, eat a lot of what we grow, because we know most of our stuff are organic. We do not use all that fertilizers. I'm not a technical person when it comes to agriculture. But we do not use all of that fertilizers and all of these things to grow our products. So I would like persons to be aware that our products down at the plant has no preservatives, even the vacuum pack. It's just blanched. When I say blanched, it's just heated so that all the live enzymes die, so that at least whatever that causes it to rot is not going to rot during the time that it's on the freezer. Our stuff has no preservatives whatsoever. And so what we tried to do today was to showcase what we do, our juices and our vacuum pack products.
So on average, how long can any of the products that that comes out of the Foaso plant last?
Currently, we have some dashing on our freezer, and it's been there for a year. Well, they are not for sale because they've been there. What we've been doing is trying it out to see how long can we keep it before it actually goes bad. We have some dashing on the freezer right now that has been there for a year. Our expiry date on products is 6 months. Because they can live the shelf life is longer than 6 months. However, the dashing that we have on the shelf right now in the freezers are still tasty. They're just as good, and they've been there for a year.
So is it safe to say a lot of what's happening at the Foaso plant right now is experimental?
To a certain extent, yes. But we're hoping that that is going to change, because recently we got the government of Argentina who has agreed to send us technicians. We'll be getting some technical expertise from the government of Argentina, hopefully as early as January of next year, to assist us in terms of the whole production cycle, in terms of processing, packaging, marketing, and exporting. So we'll be getting some assistance from a country where a lot of agro-processing is being done. And that is the government of Argentina.
All of that is going to be done at that plant?
At the plant,
None of it being outsourced?
At the plant, no, at the plant. Okay. At the plant.
Okay. Now, you mentioned earlier you're going to be doing some refurbishing and expansion.
Yes, some
retrofitting. Is that going to include the physical expansion of the premises?
Not external, probably not external. I cannot give you an exact definition of what exactly is going to be happening. What I can tell you is, because inside of the plant there are some rooms where we need to do some processing, and the rooms are a little too tight, too small. And so we'll be doing some expansion on the inside, some breaking of walls on the inside. However, there might be some work done on the outside, but like I said, I'm not too sure as to exactly what because you would need a HACCP expert to come in and tell you exactly how the plant is supposed to be
I'm
organized.
asking because I haven't been down to the plant for a while, so I'm not familiar with what changes have transpired since I was last there. And I will do that. But I'm trying to get an idea or picture, and I'm sure our listeners will appreciate, our viewers will appreciate as well, that image I'm trying to get in terms of the actual process that's happening. Given the list that you started off with in terms of the products coming out, do you have machinery or equipment specifically designated for processing those materials that cannot be used for anything else? Because I'm imagining that would have implications for your cost, your staffing, and the like.
Okay, Karen, let me just walk you through a process. I'm going to walk you through a process, and we're going to look at one item. A farmer walks in with dashing, for instance. The farmer comes in, we have the selective area where the selection process takes place. So we have the selection where we select the good, because sometimes the farmers come in, and some, like I said, even if it's discolored, it's okay, but we have to ensure that it's not rot, it's in good condition for processing. After it's selected, it is taken to the processing. We have a room called the dirty room. It is taken to the dirty room where it's washed, cleaned of any external debris, and it's peeled in the dirty room. After it's peeled in the dirty room, it is taken to the processing room where it is blanched. Now we have this kettle. Excuse me. We have this kettle where the blanching is done, and the blanching is just to kill the enzymes. It's just to heat it for a couple minutes to kill the live enzymes, so that when it's packaged, it can remain on the shelf for a very long time. So after that, the washing, the peeling, the blanching is done, it is then placed into a vacuum pack machine.
And all the peeling and all that is done by hand, manually?
The peeling is done by hand. Hopefully, when the retrofitting is done, we'll be getting machine to assist us in terms of the peeling. After that is done, it's heated, then cooled, and placed in bags. Then it's placed in the vacuum pack machine, where the vacuum pack machine sucks out any air, because you know there are little bacteria in the air. It sucks out the air. And so when you purchase it, you realize the air is all sucked out, it all creeps. And then after the air is sucked out, the label is placed on it, then it's placed into the freezer while it's still warm, to ensure that it's not contaminated with anything, any kind of contamination.
Now, I'm a little concerned, once you go, you remove the manual aspect of it, as you indicated. What are the implications for employment?
I understand what you're trying to ask. Hopefully, we're hoping that the machinery will not interfere. We're hoping that whatever type of machinery we get for the plant will not interfere with staffing. In fact, we're hoping to be able to create more employment within the community in the long run. Because when you have mass production, right now we cannot mass produce because we do not have all the equipment. But even if we have the equipment, but if you look at the number of items that you receive, mass production will help us sustain the number of staff that we have, and maybe bring in some new ones.
You'll appreciate the environment in which all this is happening. There's an economic crisis going on, which leads to the question, and I hope you can answer it.
I hope so too.
We're talking about food security. In light of what's happening economically worldwide, is there a fear on your part that maybe food security issues are not being given as much attention anymore because we are preoccupied with other economic concerns?
What I think we should do for the economic situation that we're in now is to try and consume more local items. Because if you notice, we have a lot of items in St. Lucia, edible items that are going to waste. And if you consume local, if you look at the price of your local items versus the price of some of the items that's coming in, sometimes it's better to stick with what you have. And the thing is, when you stick with what you have, you know what you have. You know your products, you know your country, you know what products you're working with. And so if you support local, you eat healthy, you try to eat local, because our stuff, like I said, the stuff that we produce does not have any additives or preservatives or colors or whatever. Try to, because just looking at the fair today, we had a chef, hello Chef Orlando. He came in to assist us to do some tastings with us today. And what I found out, I learned today that there are so many ways you can cook plantain. We tend to process plantain or cook plantain the most boring way. You just boil plantain and you eat it, or you ripe it and you fry it. But I learned something new today. Chef Orlando took the vacuum packed plantain, seasoned it up. He did not boil it. He seasoned it up with all types of seasoning, and he fried it. It was like a nice fried, tasty plantain. I looked at what he did with breadfruit, and I looked at the way he was able to make all of those items, make simple meals out of those items. So we need to try and work with what we have and stop. I don't think I'm in the right place to see that we shouldn't be importing, because because we look at our import bill, I'm not too sure. I think it's probably 80-20. We probably bring in a lot of stuff from overseas, but I think we should try as much as possible to consume our local items. Maybe that will help with the economic situation.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the figure is either, especially locally, but I think I recall, I'm subject to correction. Now, regionally, we're talking about at least $5 billion spent on imports.
I wouldn't doubt you. I know our food import bill, because I have heard it said many times by the minister and other members of the Ministry of Agriculture about the high import bill that we have when it comes to food in St. Lucia. And so we need to cut down on that.
And I think that's one of the biggest criticisms of CARICOM after all these years or decades of its existence.
And we're still in.
Yeah, and I've read not so long ago that we have the capacity within countries like Guyana and Trinidad and Tobago, Suriname to a lesser extent, and even Jamaica, that really can produce enough food to feed the entire region. You know, so perhaps there's a feeling on the part of our CARICOM leaders to take advantage of those resources.
I honestly think that if we were to take this thing seriously, I will not say that we will be able to feed our country 100%, but I think we can make a dent in the
But the experts suggest that we can.
I'm sure we can. I'm sure we can. But then, I guess time will tell.
But we also have to, let's look at the link between food security, development, poverty, social and political stability. You touched on the unemployment aspect of it. Let's look at some of the other aspects. Yeah.
Such as?
Political stability, crime. There's an obvious link. If you create employment, people are less likely to go in other directions, illegal directions. Do you really see that role for the agro-processing industry by creating enough employment or generating enough employment or interest in the agro-processing sector?
You see, it's not just agro-processing, because before you get to the agro-processing part of it, there is the agriculture part of it.
Right.
There is the growing, the actual...
an aging farmer population
exactly.
as well.
You have you have to look at before you get to agro, you have to look at the step before the agro. You need to know whether you have farmers, persons who are interested in farming, to be able to, because it's a process. It starts with the farmers, and then it goes down the line. It goes down to agro-processing, and then it goes down into the supermarket. I have heard it. I do not know the stats, but I have heard that we have an aging population of farmers. We have the youth nowadays are not interested in farming, and so
farming is not sexy.
That's what they're saying. It's not sexy. It's not profitable, because I think we live in an age where everybody wants everything to be profitable from the onset. There is not, we don't have that tolerance that our forefathers had, that they had no tolerance, no patience. Everybody wants, it's a quick fix.
Right.
Everybody wants everything to be fixed right away, and so this is where we are at right now.
But didn't the Ministry of Agriculture start an agro entrepreneurship program not too long ago, designed specifically to attract young people to the agriculture sector, including the fishing sector? There's also, was it BAM?
The BAM...
Don't you aren't those contributing to resolve that situation or address it?
I think we would have to go... I am not too sure. We would probably need to address that, address the members of agriculture in that regard.
Yeah, and we had hoped, by the way, to have a few of them with us this evening. They've not shown, but we're fortunate and we're very happy and appreciative that Miss Lionel was able to make time, although she's had a very long day.
I'm not sure if I'm as fortunate as you are.
You're okay. Yeah, but let's go back to the the food fair, you mentioned some of the demonstrations that were put on by the chef. You were talking about your packaging earlier. Perhaps that's one of the areas that you can go into, including cooking instructions and recipes on your packaging,
in fact,
maybe even the creation of a cookbook.
Interesting that you mentioned that, because while we were at the food fair, I had a very interesting conversation with the chef. Because what we're looking into is we're trying to see if we can collaborate in the long run, so that he can have some programs where probably on television programs where we can teach St. Lucians how to prepare some of the stuff that we do, how to prepare yam. Not just the same way that we do it every day, but how to prepare yam in a more interesting way, how we can prepare dashing and green bananas and whatever, and what have you. So hopefully in the future we can have the chef come on board with us in terms of teaching the public how to prepare those items in other ways and make it more interesting, more appetizing, more tasty.
And I'm sure that will help you along in getting
this will help us with the sales.
More sustainable as well.
Yes.
Yeah, self-supporting. But is the cookbook a real concern or consideration for you?
It will help.
Yeah. I know there was a school cooking competition not so long
Currently,
ago.
the Fish Marketing Corporation do have a cookbook, because you know they're into the vacuum packing of fish as well.
Oh, they are?
And they are into the vacuum packing of fish, because similar to us, the Fish Marketing Corporation, I hope I'm able to speak on their behalf, they are in existence, similar to us being in existence, to be able to capitalize on the seasons, because sometimes you have that, like recently we had a lot of dolphin, a lot of snapper, and sometimes you have a surplus of all of those items. So the Fish Marketing Corporation, one of the reasons for the establishment was to be able to add value, to be able to fillet and store, so that when those things are out of stock, at least out of well, when we're having abundance and they're out of stock, the consumers can find them at the Fish Marketing Corporation. It
would have been nice if we had Sarita Peter here with us this evening, our fisheries biologist.
So
yeah, because I have quite a few questions about the fisheries aspect of World Food Day.
And I think you should keep that for Sarita.
No, I'm not going to ask you, but hopefully she's watching and she can call in, or somebody else from the department can call in, because you're talking about surpluses, and I know that the fisheries industry in the region has been under a lot of pressure from a number of factors, from climate change to overfishing, pollution, and that sort of thing. And more recently, we've had the case of the lionfish.
The lionfish, right.
The lionfish. And
I had the opportunity to taste it today. I had a little taste of the lionfish.
I've not been so fortunate.
It's really nice, very tasty.
Yeah. But the lionfish, I'm told, has a very huge appetite and can consume huge amounts of fish in a matter of minutes. And it's a problem that's affecting the entire Caribbean, not just St. Lucia. I'm not sure how much we can contain it. I know the Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries has been working very hard, more specifically the Fisheries Department, encouraging people to catch and consume lionfish. It would be nice to hear from them how successful they are in that regard. But I don't think it can be contained if the statistics are accurate and what I'm reading is true. We're going to have a lot more success at containing it rather than eradicating it altogether. But it's definitely having an impact on the fisheries sector.
From what I understood, it is.
Yeah. Okay, we're due for another break. This is Newsmaker Live on DBS with me, Kendall Burton. Our guest tonight is Cynthia Lionel, the manager of the agro-processing plant in Foissa. When we come back, we'll open the lines to take your calls. We'll take your questions, your comments as it relates to food security, World Food Day, and agro-processing. We'll be right back.